Every few months, we get an update on the Halton real estate market. So I chatted with the 2026 president of the Oakville, Milton, and District Real Estate Board, Heidi Noel, who, although the market isn't booming, she did start our chat with a bit of good news.
So the good news about the real estate market in Halton is that it's moving. It's moving. So, it's not frozen. It's not frozen like the weather, but it is moving in kind of a steady way. So some of the volatility and some of the drops that we saw in the past in terms of prices and in speed of the market and in terms of interest rates have all gone away. And now we're kind of in a gentler, more human market.
Are we, would you say, now in a buyer or a seller's market at present?
We are mostly in a slight buyer's market
Okay.
in almost all segments.
Now, one of the things I do continually hear about is that mortgage renewals are exceeding what people may have negotiated 5 years ago. Is that still out there, or have we leveled out as far as interest rates have gone, and is this no longer an issue?
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing in terms of that. The banks are saying that there are many renewals that are coming due this year. For the most part, banks are quite good at working with consumers. They don't want to end up owning a lot of houses. They don't want to end up being on the market themselves. So, they'll work with consumers who are in trouble. But for a lot of consumers, what it's going to mean for them is that they're going to be paying down their principal at a lower rate, but they can arrange to have their monthly payments stay relatively the same in many cases. And for some, they're going to have to take a hit with a higher monthly rate for their mortgage.
Now, obviously, everyone is hoping for a turnaround. You get the booming real estate market. We're not going to get back to the craziness that we saw in the pandemic because that was just bananas. But is there any way to predict a turnaround looking at past trends, or can you not, just due to the instability of the U.S. market, leaving things up in the air?
Well, there is a lot of instability, right? There is a lot of instability. And I'm not sure that we want a turnaround that would ever bring us back to the craziness of the pandemic or even some of the other eras leading up to that. What I think we want is a gentle return to more transactions happening and maybe a gentle return to a little bit of price appreciation. But you have to remember that for years, what we were looking for was for prices to come down a little bit. And we were talking a lot about affordability. So, in real estate, it always seems to be a bad news story somehow, but actually, it's not a bad story right now. There's time for people to get into the market, time for them to look at the inventory that's there. There's plenty of inventory, and there's not really a fear of prices coming down rapidly the way they used to. And if they do come down again this year, it probably will be a pretty gentle slope.